Look at almost any ancient wall, and eventually you will find one. A carving of a figure with a strange, oversized head. A shape in the sky. A being that seems to descend from above, glowing, powerful, not quite human. You have seen the shows, the documentaries with the dramatic music, asking the question with a knowing smile. Did ancient humans meet aliens? Your gut wants to say, maybe. After all, how did they build the pyramids? Why do so many separate cultures, oceans apart, all tell stories of visitors from the sky? It feels like too big a coincidence. But the real answer is far stranger than aliens. Because something did visit your ancestors, again and again, all over the world. It just did not come from another planet. It came from inside their own skulls. Let us be honest first. There is no credible physical evidence that extraterrestrials ever visited ancient Earth. None. No alien alloys, no out-of-place technology, no genetic fingerprint from the stars. The famous idea, popularized by a writer named Erich von Däniken in the 1960s, that aliens taught humans to build monuments, has been examined and dismantled for decades. We know how the pyramids were built. Human hands, human ingenuity, ramps, levers, rope, and staggering amounts of organized labor. But here is the part that is genuinely fascinating. If there were no aliens, then why does nearly every culture on Earth, from the Americas to Australia to Africa, independently describe beings that come from the sky? Why is the story so universal? The answer is not up in the stars. It is a feature built into the human brain. Start with the most important one. Your mind is a machine for detecting other minds. The cognitive scientist Justin Barrett gave it a name. He called it the Hyperactive Agency Detection Device. Imagine your ancestor on the savannah, hearing a rustle in the tall grass. It could be the wind, or it could be a lion. The ancestor who assumes wind and is wrong dies. The ancestor who assumes a predator, an agent, a mind with intentions, survives. So evolution tuned your brain to see agents everywhere, even when there are none. A face in the clouds, a purpose behind a storm, a someone behind the lightning. Now point that overactive mind at the sky. To an ancient human, the sky was not empty space. It was the largest, most dramatic, most terrifying stage in existence. And on that stage, strange things happened. A comet blazing across the night with a tail of fire. A meteor screaming down toward the horizon. A total eclipse swallowing the sun in the middle of the day. A brilliant new star suddenly appearing where none had been, which we now know were exploding stars, supernovae. Some of them recorded by cultures around the world on the very same night. Your ancestors had no science to explain any of this, but they had that hyperactive agency detector, screaming that someone was up there, someone powerful, someone watching. Faced with lights and fire descending from the heavens, of course they described visitors from the sky. They were not lying. They were doing exactly what your brain is built to do. But sky phenomena are only half of it, because the most convincing alien encounters do not happen in the sky at all. They happen in the bedroom. Consider this. Around the world, in cultures that never touched, people report the same terrifying experience. You wake in the night, but you cannot move. Your body is frozen. You sense a presence in the room, a figure. It comes closer. It presses down on you. Sometimes it paralyzes you, examines you, even lifts you. You are fully awake and utterly helpless. The folklorist David Hufford studied this phenomenon across cultures and found it everywhere, described in almost identical terms. In old Europe, it was a witch or a demon sitting on your chest. In other traditions, a spirit, a hag, a djinn. And today, in the modern world, it wears a different costume. Now the figure has gray skin and huge black eyes. Now it is an alien, and the experience is called an abduction. It is the same event. It is called sleep paralysis. As you wake from dreaming, your mind switches on before your body's dream paralysis switches off. So you are conscious, but frozen, with your dreaming brain still bleeding vivid, terrifying images into the room. Your hyperactive agency detector fills the darkness with a presence, and your culture hands you the identity of that presence. A demon, if you lived 1,000 years ago. An alien, if you live now. The Harvard psychologist Susan Clancy studied people who sincerely believed they had been abducted by aliens. She found they were not lying and not insane. They had a real, shattering experience. Sleep paralysis, a strange memory, a feeling of missing time, and their minds reached for the only explanation their culture offered. In another century, the very same people would have described angels or fairies or the dead. Do you see the pattern forming? The experience is ancient and universal, only the costume changes. This is what the writer Michael Shermer means when he talks about the believing brain. He argues you are wired for two things. First, patternicity, the tendency to find meaningful patterns in random noise. And second, agenticity, the tendency to believe those patterns were made by an intentional agent. Put them together, and you have a brain that cannot look at a strange light, a frightening night, or a great monument without whispering, "Someone did this. Someone was here." So let us return to those carvings on the ancient walls, the figures with the strange heads, the shapes descending from the sky. They are not photographs of aliens. They are something far more precious. They are a record of the human mind meeting a universe it could not yet explain, and doing the most human thing possible, reaching for an agent, a face, a visitor, filling the terrifying unknown with a someone, because a someone, even a frightening one, is easier to live with than a void. Ancient humans did not meet aliens. They met the sky, vast and violent and unexplained. They met their own paralyzed minds in the dark. And they met the deepest instinct of their own brains, the one that insists, against all the empty silence, that we are not alone. And here is the final twist, the one that should sit with you. You still do it. Every time you look up at a strange light and feel that flicker of maybe. Every time a documentary asks the question, and something in you leans forward. That is not new knowledge. That is the oldest instinct you own. The same one that carved those figures into stone, still running, still scanning the heavens for a someone. So look again at that ancient wall, at the strange head and the shape in the sky. You were never looking at a picture of aliens. You were looking into a mirror. And the visitor it has been trying to show you, this entire time, was you.